In the late 90s, the British Touring Car Championship was a battleground. BMW, Ford and Volvo were all fighting for dominance. But in 1999, a car that most people don't even remember took the crown, the Nissan Primera. These days, nobody talks about the Primera, so you would be forgiven for thinking that the road-going version would be dull and forgettable, just another boring family sedan that somehow pulled off a miraculous underdog victory. But it wasn't. Beneath its conservative looks, the Primera was one of the best handling sedans of its time.
It has the world's most advanced suspension system and the most powerful engine in its class.
The switch car, right?
Yeah.
Primera.
In an era where 90s Japanese cars are hyped to near supercar levels, the Primera has been completely left behind. So what happened to Nissan's forgotten sports sedan? Why exactly did no one care? Let's take a look at the very unfortunate story of a car that should have been one of the greats. You'd think that winning one of the most competitive touring car championships in the world would earn the Primera some serious credibility. At the time, the BTCC was in its prime. It was a battleground for manufacturers to prove who made the best real-world performance cars. The rules were tight, the racing was aggressive, and the stakes were sky high. It was a golden era, with factory-backed efforts from the likes of BMW, Volvo, Ford, Honda, Vauxhall, and of course, Nissan. And these weren't vague marketing tie-ins either. These cars shared real DNA with their road-going counterparts. Nissan's BTCC program wasn't just a half-hearted side project. They teamed up with RML, the same outfit that would later work with Chevrolet in the WTCC and Le Mans. The P11 Primera Super Touring car was the result of obsessive development. Advanced aero, aggressive chassis tuning, sequential gearboxes, high-revving naturally aspirated SR20 engines. These cars were weapons. In 1999, Nissan, driving the Primera, won the BTCC Constructors' Championship, and Laurent Aiello took the driver's title in dominant fashion. It wasn't a fluke. The Primera was consistently quick, balanced and razor-sharp on track, smashing its rivals Volvo, Ford and even BMW. This should have been a marketing goldmine, a perfect chance to position the Primera as a true performance sedan, forged in the fires of touring car racing. But the road car sat quietly on showroom floors, barely mentioned in the same breath as its racetrack success. And that is a shame, because according to motoring journalists at the time, Nissan had a lot to shout about. Tiff Nadell himself called it a superb driver's car. In one test, it even outperformed the E36 BMW in 16 out of 22 performance categories. The Primera was a serious option for anyone looking to build a track toy or just have a genuinely fun, practical daily. With independent multi-link suspension developed from BTCC, a bomb-proof naturally aspirated SR20DE producing 150 horsepower, and a gearbox praised for its slick feel, the Primera GT had all the right ingredients. And yet, how many do you see on track today? Almost none, especially when compared to the sea of E36s and Civics. A big reason why? Try buying one. At the time of making this video, there's one GT for sale in the entire of the UK, and it's listed at nearly 10 grand. And no, that's not due to crazy demand, that's a supply issue. The Primera GT was never a limited edition car. Sure, it wasn't built in the same numbers as BMW's 3 million strong E36, but it wasn't some rare homologation special either. So where did they all go? According to the How Many Left website, there are just 97 Primera GTs still registered on UK roads, and in North America, they never got the GT at all. This isn't just a case of a rare gem being overlooked. People just didn't care enough to keep them alive. But why didn't they care? If they were really that good? Described by journalists as another excellent Nissan, sent to market in shabby clothes, the Primera wasn't desirable to the average buyer. BMW made sure that the E36 looked the part. It was sharp, classy, and aspirational. Their advertising made you feel like owning a BMW was a rite of passage. Nissan, on the other hand, fumbled the bag. After a clumsy marketing effort with the P10 Primera, they gave it another shot with the P11 GT, but not even a BTCC championship could save it from its total lack of sex appeal. It still looked like a drab, dreary old man's car. Sure, car journalists were raving about how well it drove, but outside of die-hard car enthusiasts and loyal Nissan fans, very few people were willing to part with their cash for performance alone. The E36 had another major advantage in the used market: rear-wheel drive. This setup doesn't just bring enthusiasts approval. It means, like the Primera's SR20 powered cousins, the E36 could be taken to drift days alongside S13s and S14s. It opened up the door to a whole nother audience. Today, many track enthusiasts would be prepared to overlook the Primera's understated looks and front-wheel drive layout in exchange for a cheap and capable circuit car. But here's the problem: scarcity. Prices have crept up, not because of hype or demand, but because there's barely any left. If you want one now, you're paying a hefty premium, assuming you can find one at all. The lack of love for the Primera still remains a bit of a mystery. My research clearly points towards underwhelming looks and poor marketing as the main reasons for the car's cold reception, even years later. But I don't think that's the whole picture. As I mentioned in a previous video, it's no longer cool to say your favourite car is a Mark IV Supra. They're brilliant machines, no doubt, but we as humans love appearing interested in the niche. The Supra has become mainstream and saturated. On the flip side, saying that your favourite car is something like an Alfa 147 GTA feels way more interesting. It communicates that you're into cars beyond the performance specs and the hype. It's a bit snobby, sure, but we all do it to some extent. We see this phenomenon everywhere, from fashion and photography to motorcycles. The deeper your interest goes, the more you're drawn to things that require a more esoteric understanding to appreciate. And that shift has finally started to happen with the Primera GT, but it may have come too late. The love is growing, but the love arrived after so many examples were already lost, rusted away, written off, or scrapped when they became uneconomical to repair. Cars that might have been saved had they been more valued at the time. Now, the Primera finds itself in a tricky spot. There simply aren't enough left for it to take up the role it deserves. A great entry-level, cheap, track-ready driver's car. The Primera isn't like a rare, pretty old Alfa that's effortlessly cool. It doesn't have that instant desirability or style that gets collectors excited. What made it special was almost the opposite. Its usability, reliability, and most importantly, its low cost. That's what gave it value. But now, scarcity has made that kind of appreciation almost impossible. And the truth is, low cost and scarcity rarely go hand in hand. Nearly 30 years later, and there does seem to be a faint flicker of excitement building among enthusiasts for the Primera GT. Slowly, but surely. Maybe this video will help light the flame. With the car now legal to import into the US, there is a chance it could finally get some recognition it missed the first time round. But even if the interest grows, anyone inspired to buy one will have a tough time. Finding a clean Primera GT is like hunting for a unicorn. And if you do manage to hunt one down, you'll need to be ready to pay a premium for Nissan's OAP track-bred machine.